What is up, everybody? Coach Chad here, CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy, creator of the Assistant Coach Academy, and creator and show host of the Fit CEO podcast by Chad Molyneux. Let's freaking get it. This is going to be one that speaks, I feel like, directly to you. And what we're going to be talking about today is how I grew my fitness business when I was in college. So I'll give you a really brief rundown of my story. I'll catch you up to speed if you don't know anything about my background. So in 2015, my girlfriend, Caitlin, maybe you guys follow her on Instagram. It's Caitlin Michelle Fit, introduced me to Christian Guzman. And the second I watched the video, I was a little apprehensive at first, probably because I was an in-person trainer at the time and I was a little bit jealous of the success that he achieved online. But he grew on me. And eventually I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do. And I gave myself a 3-month timeline to achieve what Christian achieved. I laughed because obviously I was extremely ignorant. Those 3 months really took me about 3 years. The reason it took me 3 years is because I was extremely stubborn. I wasn't open to help. And to be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing. I literally looked at what Christian did, which was post YouTube videos, post on Instagram, post on social media. And I was like, all right, well, if this made him an online fitness coach, then this is what I'll do. And I just started posting all over the place, every single platform, multiple times a day. I was like a fanatic about posting, like really crazy about it. Well, 3 years later, I didn't have any success. I was in extreme debt. I was extremely stressed, extremely anxious, and pretty damn broke. So I decided that I was going to invest in my first business mentor that cost about $6,000. I invested, and I only got one client for $2,000. So I was $4,000 in debt. And the reason I only got one client is, and I always say this, I failed the business coach. I let my stubbornness get the best of me. I wasn't open to receiving his advice, and therefore I did not get any results except for that one client for $2,000. So I had debt collectors coming after me, picked up a side job as a waiter. And 6 months later, I decided to invest into another business coach. About 3 to 4 months after investing into that business coach, I was finally a full-time online fitness coach. So really long, crazy story. But that's a little context for you. Okay. So like I said, coming back to the topic here, what we're talking about is how I grew my fitness business in college. So I was probably, if 2015 was the year that I started, I know I was 19, but I was probably a sophomore going into junior year of college. And during that time, I was a full-time student and a part-time worker. I was an in-person trainer, like I said, and then at one point I left the in-person training when I decided I want to do the online fitness coaching thing full-time and picked up a side job as a waiter. So in so many words, I was busy as fuck. And growing this online fitness coaching business during this time was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever done. All right. So what I hope to get out of making this podcast for y'all is sharing the exact steps and mindset, the mindset game that I had to have with myself in order to make this happen. Because like I said, I graduated college and I never had to use my degree. I immediately was full-time doing online fitness coaching, and I've never had another job since graduating college. This has been my full-time gig. So I hope that y'all get something from this. Let's dive in, shall we? All right. So first one, and probably the most important one, is anytime that we have a goal, we have to make a decision. Okay. And we have to make a certain amount of decisions on how much we're willing to give up in order to achieve said goal. So the first thing that I wrote down, and the first thing that you'll have to do if you want to graduate college and do this full time and start that process now, I should probably talk about that really quick. If this is something that you want to do full time and you do also want to go to college, but you want to graduate and you want this to be your full-time gig, start now. Start now. Do not wait. Start now. It is one of the best decisions I've ever made because looking back, hindsight 2020, if I graduated college and I had to find a job, to be honest, I don't think I would be making this podcast. I don't think I would have the success that I had because I probably would have gotten into that job. I probably would have settled in that job, and I probably would have never chased my career. So I looked at college as an opportunity to build my dreams, but still appease my parents. If I'm being honest, my parents wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't treat college very seriously. I skated by with C's and B's, mostly C's. And I used this time that I was in school and didn't have, full-time job as an opportunity to build my business. So I didn't actually write that down on my notes, but that is a really important piece of this puzzle. Is I didn't wait to graduate college, because I hear a lot of people say this: I want to be an online fitness coach, but I have to get my degree first. And if I did do that, like I said, I probably wouldn't have started. I probably would have gotten my degree. I probably would have found a job, and I probably would have settled, and I probably would have never moved forward. And being in college really provides you don't have much responsibility, right? When you're in college, there's not much bills you pay for. My parents made me pay for majority of my bills. The only bill that they didn't make me pay for is they said, so long as you're in college, we won't make you pay rent, but everything else I paid for. But that's a massive opportunity, right? I didn't have a lot of expenses. I didn't really have a lot of obligations outside of going to school and doing my part-time work. So I took advantage of that opportunity to build the business of my dreams. So when I graduate, I don't have to find a shitty job that I didn't want. Okay. So that's point number one. And now let's go into point number two. Point number two is you have to be willing to make trade-offs. And like I said, every success story, there is decisions that have to be made, and you are in charge of making those decisions. So you have to be willing to make trade-offs if you want to be able to graduate and have this be your full-time thing. All right. So these are the trade-offs that I was willing to make. Not saying that you have to make the same trade-offs as me, but like I said, I am just using me as an anecdotal story, because all I know, all I can teach is from my past experience. And this is what I did in my past experience to get to that point when I was growing my fitness business in college. All right. So I was willing to make these trade-offs. I was willing, this is literally a thought that I had. I told myself, I will give up my entire 20s to make this business happen. I will give up my entire 20s. I won't go to parties. I won't drink. I won't, have all these like fun travels. I won't do all of these things. That was a decision that I was able to make in order to grow this business. And it's a decision that I did make. All right. The first couple of years of college, my freshman and most of my sophomore year, I lived it up. Once I made this decision, like sophomore year going to junior year, I actually moved back home, went to a local school, and didn't attend another college party. I didn't do shit, if I'm being honest. I literally worked out, went to school, worked out, went to school. And that was literally my life. All right. So I was willing to give up my 20s. I was willing to not have a large friend circle. Once I moved back and went to that local school, I literally was friends with Caitlin, the people that I worked at my part-time job with when I was a waiter, and myself. That was it. All right. I was willing to give up sleep. All right. So things that I was willing to trade off: my 20s, my friends, or having a large friend circle that normal 20-year-olds have. And third was sleep. When you are in this stage of doing all the things, growing your business, going to school, having a part-time job, I like to call this the crazy years. These are the crazy years. Every success story has those crazy years. And you have to be willing, like I said, to make these trade-offs. And one of those trade-offs that I think you have to make, once again, all from previous experience, is there are going to be some times where you have to sacrifice getting good sleep. Because there were some days where I literally would wake up, go to classes, I would come back, I would work my waiter job, I would come home, it's 8, 9 o'clock, and then I would start working on my business from 8, sometimes until 2 in the morning. I would get a couple hours of sleep, and then I would do it all again. All right. Those are sacrifices that you will have to make in this stage. Is that a sacrifice that you'll have to make forever? No. And we'll talk about, when I got to the point where I didn't have to work my side job and I could do this more, but there will be a certain period of time. And like I said, I call that the crazy period, where your life is going to be flipped upside down. Your work-life balance is going to be in disarray. But it is all, and this is the way that I viewed it, it is all for the greater good. It is all a temporary struggle that you make the decision to go through in order to come out the other side and have the life of your dreams. And I will literally say this until I'm red in the face, and I am red in the face right now if you're watching on YouTube, because The life I have now, I would go back and do that over and over and over again in order to have the life that I have now, in order to have the friends that I have now, in order to make the money that I make now, in order to help the people that I help now, in order to have the relationships that I have now. I would go back and I would give up those hours of sleep again. I would give up my early 20s again. I would give up not having, the normal 20-year-old social life or friend circle again. I would make all of those trade-offs again. And it might seem scary for you now. It might seem difficult for you now, but I promise you, it is a worthwhile trade-off if you want to have success later on down the line. Another trade-off that I was willing to make, and this is because of the lack of time, like I said, this is the crazy period in your life where you're literally doing everything and you feel like you never have time for anything. Another trade-off I was willing to make is I worked 7 days a week. I worked on my business every single day. Did I work on it all day long? No, I didn't have all day long, right? I had school, I had a part-time job because I had to make money to pay bills. But the time that I did have every single day, 7 days a week, you're damn right I worked on my business. All right. So that leads me perfectly into my second point, right? So we've gone over point one, we've gone over point two. Now let's go over point three. And point three is understanding what to focus on that actually drives results. All right. So like I said previously, the first 3 years that I tried to do this, no success at all. Why? I wasn't focused on the right things. I thought that the best strategy was posting on social media, and just posting on social media was going to build my business. Clients were going to come pouring in. And once again, all of this came from looking at my idol at the time, Christian Guzman, because he posted on social media and it looked like he got a bunch of success. So that's what I thought I had to do. Wrong mentorship. All right. Like I told you, when I was in college, I invested in mentorship. I'm extremely happy that I did because it expedited the process and I learned what I needed to focus on. Because when you have limited time, you have to make each minute count. You have to make each minute count. So that means you have to understand what to focus on. All right. So what did I focus on? In this order, these were the three things that I focused on. I focused on sales, top priority. If you are not getting clients, if you are not booking calls, then you don't have a business. Therefore, sales is your top priority. All right. Number two, client delivery. I focused on servicing my clients. Why? If you don't get your clients' results, you don't have a business. Excuse me. Ooh, yawning. All right. Number three, I focused on marketing very little. A post a day was my analogy. A post a day could take 5 minutes. Post a day can take literally sometimes max, maybe it takes you 20, 30 minutes. Totally fine. I did a post a day. All right. So those are the three things I focused on. Focused on booking calls, closing calls, making sure my clients were happy, and making a post a day. That was it. I didn't focus on anything else. I didn't focus on all fancy schmancy logos, didn't focus on a podcast, didn't focus on building a website. When I learned what actually drove results, that's all I focused on. Booking my next call, closing my next call, making my clients happy, making a post a day. That's it. Okay. So if you're somebody that says, I don't have enough time in the day, it's not that you don't have enough time in the day. It's that what you're probably currently focusing on isn't actually driving results. So therefore you think you need more time in the day. You don't need more time in the day. You just need to focus on the right things. All right. So that is exactly what I focused on. All right. Moving on to the next point here. Targets. All right. I am still a very target driven person. But this is another thing that really helped me day to day. All right. So every day I made a checklist. Like I said, what was on that checklist was also associated to what is most important to focus on. All right. So calls booked. I had a target. How many calls am I going to book today? Right. Usually, I think it was usually one a day. One a day was my thing. If I could book one call a day, 7 days a week, I know I can close 50% of those calls. That means I'm going to close 3 to 4 calls a week. I know I could do that. Right? One call a day, super easy. I got that, right? Really easy to conceptualize. One call a day, seven calls a week, 28 calls a month, right? Or 30 or 31, depending on how many days are in the month. If I even close 50% of those, I'm going to get somewhere between 14 to 15 clients every single month. Boom. Pretty easy to conceptualize, right? So my targets, my checklist that I wrote down every single day is calls booked. What's my calls booked target? What's my calls closed target? How many calls am I going to book? How many calls am I going to close? Got to do my one post, and then anything I had to do for my clients. Onboard a client, make a client program, check in with this client, right? All of that was in a list format. Then I attacked the list. The list gives me clarity. And I have a little note here that I want to go over that says targets over time. Targets cure your time problem, right? Because your time problem comes from a lack of understanding what to do. But once you have targets and once you have them written down in a checklist format, then it cancels your time problem, because you say, okay, cool. Here goes Mila again all the time. Wow, Mila is throwing me off. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see what she's doing on the couch. But oh, that's probably because I have to feed her and it's 6:30. Wow, look at me. I am a terrible dog dad. All right, so going back to what I was saying, targets cure time. When you understand what to do and you have a checklist in front of you, it shrinks and shortens time, because you're not spending time figuring out what to do, and instead you can just execute on that, okay? All right, my next point, I'm going to try to get through these. I don't want to make this a super long one. I know my last ones have been a little longer, so I want to get back to making them shorter. All right, number 4, results by time back. All right, so once you focus, and this was once again all of my experience, once I started focusing on sales as my top priority, I actually started to get some clients, right? Which means I started to get some results, right? And once your income, right? Once your income from coaching matches your part-time income, in this case, for me, it was being a waiter, that is when I left my waitering job. And immediately I bought back an additional 15 to 20 hours a week, maybe more. I don't remember exactly how many hours I did the waitering thing, but let's say it was like 20, 25 hours, right? So once my coaching income matched that income, boom, I left, immediately bought back 20 to 25 hours a week. So once again, point number 4, results by time back. So if you can focus on the right things, and you can start getting results by focusing on the right things, which you will if you're putting in adequate time and doing it correctly, then you will start to get results. And once you start getting results, AKA clients, AKA money, then you can start buying your time back. Do I need to have this part-time job anymore? No. This is a question that I had. My parents pushed me to do it, but do I even need to stay in school anymore now that I'm starting to get results, right? Now you can start questioning the other aspects of your life, and you can start buying back your time, which in essence is going to grow your business more. All right. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. I have two more things here, because Mila is now literally attacking her dog bowl because I have not fed her yet. All right. So my point number 5, and this is one that changed the game for me, is skills also expedite time. I know I mentioned earlier in the story that I invested in a business coach. Very happy I did, because I learned the skill of sales. And once I learned that skill, my time is expedited. Now I know what to focus on, and now I know what I'm focusing on, how to actually be good and get results doing it. All right. So skills expedite time. Make sure that you're investing in the right skills. What are the right skills? Sales, marketing, client delivery, right? The 3 things that I told you that you need to focus on. All right. Those are all the things that I focused on when I grew my business while I was in college, which got me to the point of graduating college, not needing another job, and doing this ever since. I have a gift for you. All right. This is my gift to you, because I want to be able to help you out with some necessary skills. All right. So we made a free mini course. The mini course is valued at $997. I'm going to give it to you for 100% free. And it is called our Startup Mini Course. It's going to help you set up the basic systems that you need in order to start your business. All right. So the very grassroots, absolute basic systems that you'll need in order to get started. All right. It doesn't give you sales. It doesn't give you all that stuff, but it will give you the very first step that you need to make, which is setting up those systems, which is setting up your actual business and your business banking. So that's my gift to you for listening. That is going to be in the show notes. A link to that will be in the show notes to give you that startup course. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And like I said, right now, if you are listening to this and you're saying, this is me, you have an opportunity right now, if you're in school or even if you're not in school, to make a choice, to make some trade-offs in your life for a short period of time, right? This only took me 2 to 3 years, for a short period of time to make those sacrifices to change the rest of your life. The rest of my life is now forever changed because I made those sacrifices in that 2 to 3 year window. So hopefully you take this and run with this. I appreciate you guys, and I'll chat with you on the next one.